You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith. Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. This week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we are getting to know Jesus Christ. This is the beginning of a journey that we'll be on for several weeks around here. So we are laying the groundwork. And today we are embarking on a true detective series. Now, many smart people, many historians over hundreds and hundreds of years have really gone back and asked this question. Did Jesus really exist? Was he a real person, or is he someone that someone just made up at some point? Now, there are a lot of things that we can talk about, a lot of very smart people that have devoted their lives to this question. And all of these people have come to one conclusion. They have concluded that Jesus really did, without a doubt, exist. Now, we're going to talk about two of the major facts that led to this conclusion today. But I want you to know that what I say here is just simply to reinforce what we talked about last week. Jesus was a real person. He wasn't just made up. He was real. And so the two big factors that prove without a doubt that Jesus was a real person is that there are historical accounts written by people that were not Christian that write about Jesus Christ. Now, one of these accounts comes from a Jewish person. He acknowledges that Jesus was a true person, that he really lived, but he didn't believe that Jesus Christ was Lord. Now, why is it so important that a Jewish historian who didn't even believe that Jesus was God wrote about him? Well, because it proves that he was real. This Jewish historian writes that Jesus was alive, that he was killed by Pontius Pilate, that he was crucified, and he even makes mention that there is a group of his followers that are being rather a pain, that they are causing all sorts of problems because they refuse to stop believing in Jesus Christ. So he doesn't say that we know for sure Jesus rose from the dead, but he does say that from the very beginning, and he wrote this account just maybe 20 years after Jesus Christ really lived, he says he was undeniably a real person, that he did die at the hands of the Romans, and that even this early on, there were people devoutly following Jesus Christ still. Now, the second account that we have from history, from a person who was not Christian and did not believe that Jesus Christ was Lord, comes from a Roman historian. Now, this Roman historian, we know that Rome liked to keep records. They like to keep things orderly. And this Roman historian confirms the facts that we hear in the gospel, but also the facts that this Jewish person wrote down, that Jesus Christ lived. He even says that some of Jesus Christ's followers call him Christ or, anointed king, God. But he also confirms the fact that Jesus Christ was crucified by Pontius Pilate. So both of these accounts from people outside of the Christian faith have given all people, whether they believe in Jesus or not, whether they believe he was God or not, it means that he was, without a doubt, a real person that walked the earth. So this is where we are beginning on our detective story. Tomorrow, we are going to turn our focus to the Gospels. Now, the Gospels are, of course, the accounts of Jesus' life, but they are very old. And people also wonder, how can we trust the Gospels? So we will tackle that question tomorrow. But before that, I want to remind you that today is also a feast day. Today is the feast day of Our Lady of Sorrows. And if you've seen an image of Our Lady of Sorrows, you know that she's quite sad and suffering. And it's true, Mary had many sorrows, many moments of suffering in her life. And because of that, she is with us in our suffering. And she also knows that suffering can be very powerful and redemptive. So my challenge for you today, Sprouts, as we continue this journey as detectives, is to pray a Hail Mary. And as you pray that Hail Mary, pray for those that are suffering now, that Mary can be near them, and pray also that Mary can teach you the value of suffering. That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God created you to be. Once again, welcome to Season 3 of the podcast. If the Catholic Sprouts podcast has been powerful for you in any way, we simply ask that you consider sharing this podcast with another family or another teacher that might also enjoy listening. It is our joy to serve as many Catholic children as possible. So thank you for your help in spreading this podcast to others.